sometimes you're just like padding your offer, and like positioning your offer is so much more important than padding your offer. How you frame it to people, the clarity they have around it, that matters so much more than all the bells and whistles that are coming with it. Hey, friend, welcome back to the podcast. I am going to talk on a topic today that for some of you is going to be really super valuable. How do you know when it's time to change your prices, either raise your rates or to lower your rates or to change what it is that you're offering? Now, this could be for those of you that have you have a coaching group. Maybe, you're not getting people in it as quickly as you used to. Maybe you have a course that is not selling like it used to. Maybe you have a consulting package. Maybe you have a in-person art class. I mean, there's just a million different things that we have for offers, right? Like, how do you know? Sorry, I'm messing with my hair if you're watching on the YouTube, sorry. How do you know when it's time to change your rates or when you need to just change what it is that you're offering? Okay. And I think this is a really relevant topic, especially right now in this economy where people are just watching their spending more. And because people are watching, they're spending more, online sales have gone wah, wah, especially if you are a coach or a consultant or something along those lines. I think that our industry is really being hit in the coaching industry as a whole for a number of reasons. I think that 2020 is one of the best things that ever happened to the online coaching space. I think that by about 2022, we were kind of at the peak of amazingment. I think heading into 2023, then a lot of people who we were teaching to coach in the online space started to realize that, you know what, it is work. There is a cost to the entry of this industry. And that is usually you're going to have to fight a lot of fear. You're going to have to overcome a lot of things, including just your ego. You're going to have to start at zero. You're going to have to figure some crap out. And, there was a lot of people that decided, you know what, maybe this like work from home thing, work for myself thing really wasn't for me. And that's fine too, right? So we saw a lot of people return to a physical workspace in 2022, 2023. We've seen a lot of people fizzle out who originally thought they were going to want to coach. And then in the last 18 months or so, we've really seen some shifts in the economy that have not been great for those of us who are small business owners. So, we've got everything from tariffs going on to high interest rates to just unrest in general. And so, when you're looking at all of those things, when people are watching their spending more, they will look at what they don't need to be spending money on first for things to cut out. And turns out they don't have to have a coach or a consultant. You have to have electricity and water. I would say that. And you have to have food on the table, right? So, coaching is one of the things that easily can get cut out. So if you've seen a dip in sales, which I have many women who I coach, many women who are peers of mine, many people who I talk to, on a pretty regular basis. And there are a ton of people who are down 60% on sales over, let's say, like 2 years ago. And so if that's you, like, just know you're not alone. And when sales go down, there is a tendency for people to go, okay, what do I need to do? Do I lower my prices or do I just like throw a whole bunch more things in it to make it more worth it? Right. And sometimes those things can work. And I do think there are times to do both. I also think there's times to raise your rates. But what if the real issue isn't the rates though? Especially now that there are just more people, consumers are like on to us, right? Consumers no longer don't understand that if they give you their email that you're going to email them. You know what I mean? Like when you think about 5, 7 years ago, people maybe just didn't know. When you think about how like mini chat or something like that started a couple of years ago and, comment this keyword below and I'll send you my freebie. Like consumers, I don't think realized, how that transaction worked and what they would actually get and that then they would be maybe targeted by ads and stuff. But consumers are just savvier now. So when the economy is rougher and consumers are savvier, is that a word, rougher? And the economy really isn't rougher. What is it? When the economy isn't as fabulous and consumers are smarter and your sales go down, what is a person to do? And so I just want to maybe suggest that maybe it isn't a pricing issue at all. Maybe you have a clarity problem. Maybe people just, it's not the price, it's not the value, it's just that people maybe just like they're not clear enough about what it is that you're offering and how it would change things for them. And so that could be the issue, that you just need to change your offer. Okay. So, I think we can all agree that like if you're going to charge premium prices for your coaching, for your consulting, it can't be for something that's confusing. And by the way, can I tell you a pet peeve of mine? Yes, Jen, please tell me. Okay, great. I'm also, yes, talking in third person to myself like a weirdo. But here's something that kind of, churns my butter. It is bothersome to me when people are brand new into a space and they think because I don't have a year experience, because I don't have 5 years of experience, I don't have 500, past clients or whatever, that they think they need to start out really low and work their way up. Okay. Bah humbug, friends. I mean, seriously, it's just the most dumb thinking on the planet. It really, really is. Time does not equal value. Okay. Um, what's the fancy word for time? Tenure. Tenure does not equal what you should be charging. The value of something is what should be determining your price. Let me give you a great example. Okay. Back when I used to own the magic brush and I painted for a living, um, if there's one thing that I am, it's fast. Okay. I believe in working hard, but working short. All right. I don't want to work long hours. I don't want to put in long days. Usually I am at this desk for no longer than 3 to 4 hours, 3 days a week. And you're like, what? You only work 9 to 12 hours a week in this desk, in this office, in this chair? Yes. And that's just the way I want it. Okay. This is freedom for me. The rest of the time, I can work from here anywhere that I want. I can take my MacBook if I want and go to our place in Florida, work from the beach. I have designed our life. Jason and I have designed our life so that we have location freedom, as well as time freedom and financial freedom in a lot of ways. And that's just the way we want it. All right. But what the heck was my point in terms of time? Okay, Lord, bring it back. Because I was talking about the number of hours that I work. Let me think. Oh, okay, got it. Thank you, Jesus. Okay. So, but when I owned the magic brush, it was totally different because if I didn't have women physically out in the field painting in people's houses, we weren't making money. If I wasn't up on a ladder, in the beginning days when it was just me, well, I was, growing Noah Allwood in my belly, then if I wasn't physically on a ladder, then I wasn't making money. So I have always kind of been somebody that's pretty efficient and pretty fast at just all things. Like, remember when we used to get the old fashioned, um, uh, words are hard today, you guys. I've talked so much today. Report cards. Oh my gosh, report cards. Remember, we used to get report cards, and you would be graded on things like, efficiency, talks in class, communicates well, uses time wisely. Baby, I was always like top score on uses time wisely. So back when I owned my painting company, I could do a project pretty quickly. And I was never charging people by the hour, so I was never milking time. And so it was interesting to then start to price some things because if I was looking at how to like do an estimate for my painting company, and I started out in the very beginning days back in the year 1999 before I made my company official in 2000 of thinking to myself, okay, if I think this project's going to take 10 hours, let me price it roughly at like $50 an hour plus expenses. And so I'd give them the cost based on roughly, I think it'll be 10 hours. This is what's going through my head. So $50 an hour. So at the end, when I was done, I was charging $100 an hour for myself and each one of the girls I had out in the field. And then I would pay them $15 to $25 an hour to go paint for me. I would pay our designers if they had a commission or what have you. I would pay the taxes, I'd pay the tithe, and hopefully I'd come out with 50% of whatever I charged, and I just got to stay home the whole time. So it was brilliant, really. I mean, I don't mind patting myself on the back here, as I am if you're watching me on YouTube. But when it came to something then like, let's say, marbling columns. So do any of you remember like 20 years ago, 15 years ago, when everybody wanted like marble columns in their entryway in Kansas City, in the Bible Belt, in Texas, this was a whole thing. We were being hired all the time to faux finish people's columns. Sometimes they wanted them to look like stone. Other times they wanted them to look like marble. Well, because I was fast, I got to where I could like marble a column, so it stands up 6, 7 feet tall. It's round, and I'm just putting paint around it. And I'm using feathers, and I'm using like this brush that would like whisk it out, and it would look all marbly and it would look fabulous. Like I could do a column in an hour. Okay, well, if I was trying to do an estimate by the hour, then I would have charged, at that time, what, 60, $80 for an hour's worth of work per column. And that was not enough. People would pay me $600 per column. And so I just started doing like a flat rate of 600 bucks a column, because if I had gone by how much time it takes me, everything would have been way lopsided. I never would have gotten compensated for the value of the art that I was doing to that column. If you are brand new to your industry, brand new to your niche, brand new to your thing, and you're like, gosh, I can't charge whatever I want to. No, you really can, and you should, because you charge for where the value is. Okay. Second thing I want to say, when people say that they're not buying from you because your prices are too high or they don't have the money, usually that's not the issue. Okay. Most of the time, it's not a money issue. It's a confidence in what you're offering issue. I would say 80% of people who are not buying your coaching, your consulting, your coaching package or whatever, they're not signing up for your membership or your course, whatever. Even if they're interested, 80% of them will say it's the cost, but it's not the cost. The rest of them are going to say, by the way, that they just don't have the time or they don't think it's a good fit. But the truth is, if somebody is super clear about what it is that you offer and super confident that what you offer will fix their problem, they're going to spend the money. They will come up with the dollars. They will call their parents and borrow the money. They'll put it on a credit card. They'll do whatever else. So before you go changing pricing, make sure that you're really confident in the transformation you're giving people and that they really understand the result that you're trying to help provide. And ask yourself, like, would I pay for this income or this outcome? Would I pay for this based on the outcome that I'm promising people? And if you're like, well, I don't really have a solid outcome, then you really need to solidify that, because people will pay more when they're confident in what it is that you have. It's a confidence issue, not a money issue usually. Okay. Another thing I want to mention is that more bonuses don't necessarily equal more value. What I see people doing a lot of time is they're adding more modules to their course, more templates, more live calls, more everything. And that doesn't automatically like justify more sales or determine that you will have more sales. Sometimes you're just like padding your offer, and like positioning your offer is so much more important than padding your offer. How you frame it to people, the clarity they have around it, that matters so much more than all the bells and whistles that are coming with it. And so sometimes I think that lowering your rates are appropriate, especially if you're taking away some of the value, some of the bells and whistles. Like if I were to, take away my live Q&A calls and my 2 prayer calls every month out of my equipped inner circle group, well, then I probably would need to drop the price, right? Or I could just offer a different payment plan or something like that. But you can lower the prices, and that does make sense if you are taking out some of the value. You need to raise your prices if you have been getting really consistent results. People have been buying it at your current price. They're doing great. Your clients are getting wins. You're having more people ask you like how they can work with you. Raise your rates. I had a teacher tell me once back when I owned my painting company that if I was getting more than 3 out of every 4, like 75% of the estimates that I put out there, that I needed to raise my rates. She's like, you should not be getting 75% of the bids you put out there. You need to be too high, what people say, for at least half the people. Otherwise, your prices aren't high enough. Now, that was in a service-based industry. But, raise your rates. If you are way overbooked, if you can't keep up. I had a lady I was coaching the other day. She's like, I just don't even have time for any new clients. And I'm like, well, then you got to raise your prices. I mean, that sounds precious, right? Oh, I don't have any time for new clients. Okay, you can't carve out some hours for people that want to pay you money. This is a sign to me that you need to up your rates, and you may not have as many clients, but you'll be working less hours for the same amount of money. And then if people are really confused about what it is that you're offering, if you're literally getting crickets, no sales, no signups, none of those things, if you can't explain to me in 1 to 2 sentences what it is that you do, who it is that it's for, and what outcome people are going to have, then you definitely need to redesign your offer. And if you're like, but Jen, I don't even have an offer. Okay. Well, I've got a totally free boot camp coming up. It's called the Offer Blueprint Boot Camp. I always want to say that like backwards, but it's the Offer Blueprint Boot Camp. If you go to jenniferallwood.com/offer blueprint, you can sign up for that. Starts June 3rd. It's an hour a day for 3 days. There is like a VIP. Get the VIP because I'm fabulous in VIP. I am a very important person. You are a very important person, and this is a very important time. So get the VIP ticket, but it's totally free otherwise. And I would love to help you with your offer. Whether you have one, you're not sure if you need to adjust it, or you just need to get something for sale onto the internet for the first time. I want you to sign up for that. jenniferallwood.com/offer blueprint. Because now more than ever, you can't just have like a mediocre offer. The marketplace, they're just too savvy for that. Customers, consumers are just too savvy for that. So, and there's enough competition in every industry anymore that it can't just be mediocre. It's got to be fabulous. I would love to help you design that. If you have any questions, send me a DM on Instagram. Otherwise, I'll plan on seeing you at the boot camp. Thanks so much, friends. Bye-bye. Easton! Easton! I am now going to your sister's 5th grade graduation.